Pookie is eating plastic. Okay. Sorry, ma'am. She just had to come right on camera as I turned it on, naturally. I also pressed record before I realized I took any notes. Cat hair. So, 1 second. And we're back. Hi, everybody. My name is Natasha. This is the Soft Adornments Knitting Podcast. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've wanted to be filmed and put effort into filming. So I decided to just kind of come back to it when it felt good, when it didn't feel like an obligation. So, here I am. I feel good about it. I'm excited to show you what I've been working on this last year, because I think the last time I made one of these videos was January. So it is currently October. Okay, we're about 1 week away from October. It's September. My brain, time just keeps going and it keeps on going, or whatever the Smash Mouth lyric is. Yeah, it is September. It is currently Libra season as of like 1 or 2 days ago. And it started to get colder here in Seattle. So, I guess I'm just ready to bunker down in the fall and winter with my knitting. And I guess I just want to share what I've been working on and what I'm excited to work on, and like what I've acquired in the last year. I know I'm going to have a lot more progress to share before this year's up, because I've got some things coming, namely West Knits MCAL. So yeah, let's get it going. Let's get into what I've been up to. I've got some notes going. I do want to say, I think I want to take a little bit of a different approach with my podcast this time around. Not too different. Still going to talk about what I'm working on, which usually encapsulates knitting. Now I've been spinning a lot more, so I'll be talking about spinning, some mending. That's kind of what I've been working on, so that's what I'll talk about. But the approach I want to take is, I think what kind of turned me off of not wanting to make videos was because I was being way too perfectionist with like the editing. Sneezes always come in twos. Excuse me. Whew. Okay. What was I saying? Pookie's trying to eat a rubber band. 1 second. I was winding some yarn, and this is the rubber band that I wrap around the little spokes of wood to keep them all together, and she was trying to eat it. So anyway, the different approach that I want to take is, like less editing, less kind of pressure to come off a certain way, or like, just, I think I felt like I needed to edit the way I talk a lot so that my way of speaking makes sense or is more linear. But I don't know, it just takes a lot to edit like that, and I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm just like a nobody. I'm just like a dude knitting or whatever. So, if you want to watch along, then I'll probably be going bing, bing, bing all over the place. Maybe it'll take me a while to get to a point, but that's just who I am. That's just how I talk. And, we're all here in the journey together. Me and my little smooth neurodivergent brain. So, yeah, I also want to talk about myself a little bit more, because my previous podcasts were kind of like all business all the time. I guess I figured people wouldn't care about like what I've been up to outside of knitting. But, I'm a person, I'm a real person, I've got a life. I do things that are not knitting, and I might want to talk about that sometimes. So in the last year, I have gotten a new job. I work from home, so that's been really, really, really good for me. I'm really grateful to work from home full time. I took a songwriting class. That was really, really cool. I took it through School of Song, which is this LA-based musicians collective that partner with like musicians like Robin Pecknold from Fleet Foxes, or Palehound, or Chris Cohen, who is the teacher of the songwriting class I took. And it's just really cool. Like they gear it towards brand new songwriters as well as like experienced ones, and I'm a brand new songwriter. So it was just really cool to stretch my creative brain in a way that I hadn't before, but I always wanted to. So that was really, really, really fun. And I think I'll probably keep songwriting in the future. I don't know if I'll ever share them, but it is really fun, and I've been enjoying that. I also took a little trip to the peninsula with my best friend. The Olympic Peninsula is beautiful. We went to Sequim, Port Townsend, Port Angeles, and I just love that area so much. It's so quiet and lush, and so much nature and like mountains, and it's just really cute. And also my best friend Kat is going to be living in Seattle for 2 months, which I'm so excited for. They're actually coming tomorrow, so I get to see them. It's gonna be so fun. And then I guess the last thing that's worth sharing is I started self-studying Swedish. So if you don't know me, I studied linguistics in college. I also studied South Asian languages, Urdu, and speech-language pathology, but the most interesting to me, one of all of those is linguistics. I would say Urdu, but it's less interesting than linguistics because I already spoke Urdu growing up. So anyway, linguistics, the study of languages, the scientific study of languages. I've always been interested in languages. I studied many languages growing up, in school and then in college, and I'm actually I'm going to restart taking an ASL class through Queer ASL, #Queer ASL, shout out, love them, highly recommend Queer ASL. They are all deaf teachers and very geared towards being a safe environment for queer and trans teachers and students. Very cool. Anyway, so I'm also learning ASL on the side, but I started self-studying Swedish, and that's been really, really cool. I will not be saying anything on camera because I'm still very, very much a beginner, but I do want to get these textbooks that I saw somebody talk about on YouTube that are good for self-studying. So we'll see when that happens. So that's all the non-knitting stuff I wanted to talk about. Let's get into fiber. How do I want to do this? I think based on how I've piled everything, I should probably talk about what I've acquired first, then my works in progress, then my finished objects. I will talk about what I'm wearing because, you know, it's very eye-catching. You can totally see it from a mile away. This is my tumble tee by What Lydia Made. Lydia Morrow, I believe. And I knit this in Wild Star fibers, all Wild Star fibers. I am so excited about this piece. I love the color combination. I was actually not going to do this color combination. I was going to do like, I think I already had the purple in my stash, and then I got the variegated one and the neon one at different times. And I think I got the neon one and another Wild Star Fibers cream color because I was going to do the neon green and the cream color together with something. But then when I started kind of placing the skeins together, like they were all going to be Wild Star Fibers anyway. But when I was trying to choose 3 of these 4 colors, I don't know, there was just something about like the all pink, purple, just the all saturated color palette that I just like couldn't not do. Like I had to. So I am so happy with it. I think since the pattern was released, this was actually a test knit that I did. Since the pattern was released, Lydia has updated the pattern. So the yoke depth is a little adjusted depending on your body type. For me, the original way the pattern was designed made it so that the yoke is a little too long on me. So it kind of causes the garment to ripple a little bit like this. But since I've knit the pattern. It's been updated, so it should be able to lay flat on you, if that's the look you're going for, I guess. It does kind of have like a mock neck thing going on, which is pretty cute, and I think that'll be really nice for like fall, winter. But I mean, regardless, I'm just really happy with this garment. I don't know if I'll ever re-knit it so that the yoke is better or whatever. I mean, I've just kind of accepted that that's just how the garment fits, and that's just how it's gonna look, and like, whatever, fuck it. I still enjoy wearing it. The colors make me really happy. I also got this skirt from Shiny by Nature recently. It's a tennis skirt, and it looks very good together. I don't know if I'll show you the whole outfit. Maybe I will. Who knows? Whatever. Oh, and I've also been knit-fluenced, water bottle-wise. I think I saw Jessie May and Park with these water bottles. And I don't normally, like, buy just whatever I see online. But I saw the water bottle and, like, the free sip spout or whatever. And I was like, that actually solves a problem. Like, that actually gives a new product to the world. And so I got one, and then I got one for my partner, and I love it. Like, I love it so much. It's so much better than my old water bottle. Owala, if you want that, I recommend it. Not sponsored, just love it. Okay, what have I acquired? I'm just gonna start with this mountain of fiber over here. So I have been just buying fiber, and my spinning skills have slowly been catching up, but now I think I'm finally getting to a place where I can kind of like get through fiber. I'll save that one for later because I'm actually currently spinning that. But this is fiber that I don't know the brand of, but my friend at Whim Lizard actually sent me this because they had spun a bit of it. They spun a little bit of it into these little guys. This one's kind of worsted chunky. This one's like a DK Sport, and then this one's a fingering. And then they sent me this along with an art piece I actually acquired from them, which I've hidden under here so it doesn't get all messed up because it's a beautiful piece. I'll show you that too. My mountain's crumbling down. So they sent me these yarns, I believe, with this art piece that I acquired from their store, which is called the Lizard Works. And what an amazing, talented person Annabelle is, look at this, like, weaving with, like, beads, and it's, like, textured, and it's also circular weaving, which I've, like, never seen before. I think they might have another weaving in their shop, so I highly recommend. This one's called Petrie, by the way. I'm a very proud owner of that piece. So they sent me this yarn along with it, and when I texted them to say, like, thank you, then they were like, by the way, I have the rest of that yarn, or that fiber, if you just want it. And I was like, yes, please. And so I asked for it, and then I got it. I'll look up to see if they told me what kind of fiber it is, and if so, I'll put it down here. But it is so soft, like cloud, like softer than a cloud. Like, it's so airy, and just like, I cannot wait to spin this. I'm definitely not as talented or prolific of a spinner as Annabelle is, but I strive to get to their level. Like, just amazingly talented person, and also a great taste. Like, this purple color, it's very rich, and I really love how the color pooling kind of shows up in these three yarns, and I love how differently they show up, like, depending on how you spin. Very excited to spin that. I've got a few from Kumasi that I'm excited to spin. This one's a bit more purple, red and green, and then this one has a bit more rainbow colors, and it's got more white in between all the colors. Like, we've got some teal, some purple, orange, that deep purple blue. Very excited to spin these. And then these other two from Kumasi as well. I've got this like navy blue and sky blue with a little bit of white coming through. And then I feel like this is the same fiber as this, in which case this would be Falkland. Which I definitely thought that I spun the whole thing into one skein, but I guess I didn't. So this isn't really a new acquisition, I guess. But that's okay. I am doing pretty well for myself in spinning, I'd say. Like, I'm really, like, getting it now. I'll move into hand spun now. I'm kind of hopping all over the place, but this is a little bit of fluff that Annabelle spun for me when they sent me this other hand spun that I will show you later because it's actually a work in progress. But yeah, it's just tiny little squishy skein, and I'm really excited to like use all my little hand spun bits in like, I don't know, like stripes or just something. Like it's so inspiring like to have all these little bits of hand spun that I can like use in the future. This isn't a new acquisition, but since we're talking about hand spun, this is just my first ever little baby hand spun, all over the place in terms of weight. Some of it is overspun, some of it is underspun. I don't even know if it's usable, but I do want to keep it just as like a reminder of like where I've come from, you know. Okay, but here are some new acquisitions. So these are hand spuns by other people. This, I do not know who spun it because I got it from the textile center. I forget the exact name of the textile center, but I'll put it in a caption. Pretty much my family and I were driving around in rural Oregon. We had visited Tillamook, and I saw a sign for like a textile and quilt center, and I was like, go there, like, Dad, take the next turn, we've got to go there. And so I went there, and oh my god, they had these beautiful quilts on display that were like so intricate and so like just like the top stitching was so cool, and the fabric was really cool, and then some of the fabric was like made in a really special way, or like it was custom like printed. There's just so much craftsmanship and artistry in just the quilts alone. But then they also had hand spuns, they had fleece, they had yarns that I feel like, oh, and they had like fabrics and stuff too. I feel like people from the community, or like just the Northwest fiber community in general, like would donate their hand spuns, or I don't know if they donate them or if they just give them or what, but I mean, this is hand spun that is literally just labeled 133 yards, 76 Y/O. Does that mean it's 76 years old? Or 76 yarns over? If this is 76 years old, then this is a lot more special than I thought it was. But it is beautiful. Like, a little bit, like, it's got that kind of, like, hand, like, you know, that handmade quality to it, where it's like, of course it's not uniformly even, but it's like, it's so beautiful and soft. Like, I feel like it might have some like silk or alpaca in it. And it's just like, even in the skein you can kind of see it's got like some drape to it. So I'm very excited to use this. If this is 76 years old, that is wild. But I really want to use this hand spun with this one and one of my own hand spun that I'll share later. But this is hand spun by Freckled Crafts, who in our Queer Knitters Discord we had a little fiber swap, like a solstice summer swap of some kind, and Freckled Crafts was so kind and generous and gave me yarn. They gave me hand spun, their own hand spun. This is 86 yards of wool silk fingering weight, and it's this like kind of seafoam green gray with like coral bits. It's absolutely beautiful, and I feel like it will go well with this yarn, which I feel like I said, has like alpaca or silk or something. And this project bag was also given to me by Freckled Crafts in that swap, which was so, so nice. Thank you so much. I cherish this bag and I'm using it. I will show you what's in here in a bit. This isn't a new acquisition, but I'll just preview my hand spun to say that I want to use these three together because this is alpaca and sari silk and merino, I think. But aren't they beautiful together? Okay, we'll hear more about that later. A few more acquisitions. I'll talk about this piece I've acquired, an art piece. It's a weaving called the Celestial Guide, and this is by Starbath Dyes. Mina wove this, and it's this beautiful weaving from their own hand-dyed yarn, which is like amazing, and it's just like makes me feel calm to look at. It's just nice, you know, like a good reminder. It's like very grounding, and I just love their work so much. Like, so much intention and magic goes into everything they make, and like, what a cool thing to dye your own yarn and then make a textile out of that. I'm so excited to put this up. Couple more acquisitions. I got this Spin Cycle yarns to treat myself. This is all Verba Volant, and it's this like muted rainbow kind of thing. Jessie May used Verba Volant as the contrast color to the red in her Great Gingham sweater. And I thought that was really cute. I think these skeins are a little bit more pigmented than what the ones she used looked like. Or maybe not, I don't know. But I really, really want to use these in like... I mean, I want to use them all together. Like, I want to use them in the same piece. Like, maybe something stripey. I don't know, like, I had 3 more Spin Cycle skeins that I made into a Sun Gazer tee, which I'll show you. So I don't know if I want to do it. I don't think I'd want another Sun Gazer tee, but I definitely am excited to use these. I just don't know what I'm going to use them for, but I just knew I had to have it. I don't know, maybe like, it could just be like a plain t-shirt, like a raglan t-shirt. I would be happy to just have like, you know, a color pooly, all Spin Cycle top. Like, what an honor. We'll see. These will definitely be used. And final acquisition that I don't have a use for yet is this Greenwood Fiberworks fiber. This one is 100% superfine merino, 4 ounces, and it's this like dark, moody rainbow, which darker than the colors I normally do, but you know, it's a rainbow, so like I had to get it. I got this from the Red Alder Fiber Fest, which happened in Tacoma earlier this year. We don't get Rhinebeck over on the West Coast, but that was a really sweet little fiber festival, yarn festival. They sold, there were spindles on sale, there was so much fiber on sale, so much yarn. I got to spin on a spinning wheel for the first time. That was about 6 months ago. Sorry for the noise. That was about 6 months ago. And I did not know what I was doing. I think I've definitely gotten better at spinning since then, so I feel like I might be able to handle it better. But that was a really, really cool experience. And oh, there's also ceramics there. Charan Sachar makes knitting themed ceramics, which is really, really cool. And I got a little, I don't know what you would call it, but like a little dish that you can put on top of your tea mug while it's steeping, and then you can also use it to like take out your tea bag and put it on it. And then I also got a yarn a needles holder in the shape of a skein of yarn. So it was like, it's something you can put on your wall, like hang on your wall, and it's got holes in it, and it's like long, so it's got holes, and you can like string your needles through it and display them on your wall. And I got that from my friend, which was really cool. I thought that was the coolest thing. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to works in progress. Okay, first up, I started these little checks socks. Oh god, this is going to be very messy. Just bear with me. Very messy. There we go. Yes. Okay, little check socks. I'm very excited to finish these. These were supposed to be a trade with a tattoo and ceramics artist that I look up to and follow. And then I got the tension all weird. So I started to frog them a little bit. But I feel like if I just kept going, it would probably be okay. I think I was getting frustrated because these top squares are obviously shorter than these bottom squares, and so I think actually why I wanted to frog them was because I didn't want it to be like super baggy on the leg and like tighter up top. So we'll see. I might actually continue to frog these, but I got kind of frustrated about them and then I just kind of left them. And so instead of trading for a tattoo, I just paid for the tattoo. It's a little turtle from Over the Garden Wall. Hashtag, not hat. Why do I keep saying hashtag? Shout out Over the Garden Wall. It's almost October. I'm almost ready for my annual rewatch of Over the Garden Wall. So excited. But yeah, I definitely want to and plan to redo these. The pattern itself is really cool though. It's like, I think you just knit the whole foot and then you go back and then you do an afterthought heel, which is really, really cool. So I remember like the actual knitting of this not taking very long. I just kind of like, because I got like frustrated and like hard on myself for not doing the tension correctly, I just kind of got discouraged from knitting it any further. But it's a really cool, I mean, like, look at the color pattern. Like, I got this like teeny little, I think it's like Madeline Tosh, like unicorn single, and I was gonna use this for like the cuff and the toe and maybe the heel if I have enough, but I only have this much, so we'll see. But I do love the colors, and I do want to give these to this artist friend, so give me all the good vibes, because I really do get hard on myself with this kind of stuff. But you know, I guess that's just part of everyone in their own creative journey, like overcoming kind of like your own parts coming up telling you like you're not doing enough, or like, I don't know, like, oops, like you didn't make this good enough or whatever, and like you're not a good artist. But like, it's not really about being a good artist or being the best artist or whatever, right? Like, as long as you're being kind of true and honest about your own journey and being as kind to yourself as possible while you're learning and growing in all these different crafts, like, I don't know. Don't be hard on yourself. That's all I'm trying to say. That's advice that I could take, but anyway. Yeah, let's talk about Crux cardigan. Crux motherfucking cardigan. I'm so excited about this. Okay, I don't know when my camera cut out, but I was saying that I've become a product knitter since I've started to be able to knit things I want to wear, and the Crux cardigan is one of the things I want to wear a rainbow neutral. So good. Okay, and we're back. Works in progress. This is a I'll talk about this now since I'm working on it right now. This is a test knit. I don't know if I can name it right now because it hasn't been announced, but if you know, you know. Won't talk about it too much, but I am onto the sleeves. Not usual color palette, but I am excited about having a more like autumnal winter color palette in my own version, with a little bit of rainbow, a little bit of pink, a little purpley, but still have like dark blue, dark red, green, which I never use, but I was able to pair with this green that I already had that I knit a ripple bralette for my friend Kat. So it was really cool that I was able to use my leftover yarn from that. These two are Malabrigo, which were given to me by my really good friend for Christmas last year, which was really nice. This is Through the Wardrobe Yarn Company. This is also Through the Wardrobe Yarn Company. Oh yeah, and this yarn was given to me as part of my summer solstice swap that I talked about, from Freckled Crafts, which is very, very sweet. Perfect colors. They nailed it. Deadline is a little less than 2 weeks to do the sleeves, so I'm just gonna be like zooming through those as fast as I freaking can. But very excited that I'm on this pink purple right now because it is so delicious to look at and work with. Yeah. It's a test knit, so I'm not sure how much I can talk about like the style or anything, but I will say that I was a little worried that this would be like really shallow of a depth, but because I'm using all superwash yarn, I have a feeling like this will definitely stretch out and actually be like a V-neck and not like a V crew neck, That's all I'll say on that. And this is the yarn for that. Okay, and then I'll talk about this. So I showed you my first hand spun. That's like the one that I will never use and I will never ply. This is my first usable hand spun, which I ended up plying. This is hand spun from Kumasi, and I wanted to make like a shrug sweater, like a sweater that has like a neckline and like sleeves but no body that would just sit here. And so I think I made it way too small. Like, I don't even know if that'll fit. I also made, I also ribbed it on the bottom, which gives it this really weird finish that I didn't want. So I will probably be ripping that and I-cording it or something. But yeah, I finished it and I was like, that's not really what I had in mind. And then I just stashed it away. So I don't know if you would call it a whip. I don't know if you would call it a finished object or what, but I mean, whatever. It is cute and it is very, I think the concept that I have a fabric alone that was made from my own hand spun yarn is pretty cute. And especially given that this is not the best spun yarn. I mean, I'm a beginner, so like, go figure. It does feel good to see like, wow, it can still make a fabric. Like, what a concept. That's so cool. Okay. I'll talk about this one, and I think I'm almost done with my works in progress. This is my last knitting work in progress. So this is a Summer Secret crop made out of hand spun from Whim Lizard, which is so cute. And look at how it's like perfectly striping, like it's just so cute. Like I love that hand spun can do that. And it's super soft, like next to skin soft. I'm very excited to finish this. I'm on the straps, which is historically like my worst. Like I'm so close to being done. I'm so close. but it takes me forever to do straps because it's so like mundane. So we'll see when that's finished, but it'll definitely be finished by next spring. I forget what fiber it is, but it is very, very soft. And like I said before, Annabelle's a great spinner and definitely an inspiration for me in my spinning journey. Also, it's just super sweet, like, to have friends that send you yarn and fiber and, like, that you can, like, exchange goods and, not goods in, like, a commerce-y way, but, like, you can just exchange, like, you know, your fiber or, like, your art or your skills or whatever, and just, like, oh, I didn't like this, mystery, I think that was the case here, where, like, Annabelle spun this, mystery, like, yarn fiber club bat from Nest Fiber, and they'd spun it, and it was perfectly usable, but they were like, it's not really my colors. But Natasha would like this, and so they sent it to me, and yeah, they are my colors, and it's just really, really cute that, like, fiber friends, keep your creativity going, they keep your craft going. I think this year has been a lot about, like, crafting with that kind of friend support and, like, friend motivation. It's just been, like, a normal, like, part of my life. It's just very, very sweet, and I'm so grateful to have fiber friends that help me keep my love for this craft alive. And that is it for my works in progress knitting wise. I have a couple of other works in progress that I'll quickly show you, and then a few finished objects. So right now I am knitting this Rambouillet from Nest Fiber Studio, which is in my perfect colors. Like, it couldn't be more my colors. I mean, I know, like, I'm really into rainbows, but I think, like, if the rainbow is just pink, purple, blue, and yellow, like, that is, like, yellowy orange, like, that's my ideal rainbow. Like, that's all I need. And this Rambouillet is so soft. I'm spinning for the first time on my Turkish spindle, and I am very much enjoying this. It is so satisfying to, like, build up the turtle and all that. Also, I lied, that's not my first time knitting or spinning on a Turkish spindle. My first time was to finish this spin, which I'll talk about in a minute. But because I spun 1/2 of the ply on my student grade spindle and then the other half of the ply on my Turkish spindle, I feel like it wasn't like, oh, I spun the whole yarn on the Turkish spindle. But this one, the whole yarn I'm spinning on the Turkish spindle. I will spin both, well, all of the plies, not both, because I'm doing a fractal spin. So I split the fiber up in half, and then I split 1/2 into quarters. Okay, I mean, you split one in half, and then you take that and you split it in half, and then you take the next one and you split it in half. I did that until I had 16ths. So I did it more than I needed to, but I'm excited to see, like, a yarn where, like, I'm going to spin all of the clumps of fiber minus the 1/2. I'm going to spin that into one bobbin, I guess, and then I'm going to spin the big half into its own, so then that one will have slow color changes. This one will have variable faster color changes, and then I'll apply them together so that, like, all the colors, like, have a chance to, like, get to know each other and stuff like that. I'm very, very excited to do that kind of, like, color planning and, like, just to see how it turns out. I'm very, very excited, and I'm enjoying this spin a lot. I think I wanted to spin more, but because I've just, like, because I keep signing up for these test knits, I feel like I do well with test knits because it gives me an external, like, timeline to go off of when I'm knitting. Like, oh, it needs to be done by this date. Like, that gives me motivation. But then it takes away from other things I want to do, like self-drafting my own patterns or spinning or whatever. And I keep telling myself I can't keep signing up for test knits, and then I see testing calls and I'm like, that sounds fun, let's do it. So that's a problem. But yeah, this is the rest of that Rambouillet, so I'm still at the beginning of it. Still got some spinning to go, but I am having a great time. Okay, I did want to talk about my mending, so I'll do that very, very quickly. This is going to be part finished object. I'm losing everything. Part finished object, part work in progress. So I'll just talk about my mending all at once. So I have this really cool mending loom. Oh my god, my shit's going all over the place. I have this really cool mending loom that I got from At Worth Mending. And they make these mending looms out of like recycled wood and like these are bike spokes that they like turn into these hooks. And essentially, I think most mending looms have like a round surface, but this one has like a straight surface, so you can do like patches, you can do like elbow patches, and they have like a longer work surface you can get too, but I just need the small one really. But I love this thing so much. I haven't had much time for mending lately. There are things I want to mend, but I just haven't been able to get myself to do that. But I wanted to try mending first my like little crappy H&M sleep shorts. Like, I think these used to be like rolled up, and there was a little seam that kept them rolled up, but then over time, and as I like washed them a bajillion times, then it kind of created a hole here where the seam was, like that one stitch was. And so what I ended up doing was I undid that stitch because it didn't need to be there. And then the big hole that was created there, I decided to try my mending loom on it. And I mean, it's still going. Like, I run this through the washing machine all the time, and it's awesome. Like, I love how mending is literally just recreating a little bit of fabric over your old fabric, whether that's through a woven technique, or like if you want to do Swiss darning, then that's like a knitted technique. And it's just, I love fiber art so much. I love how people figured this out. So my work in progress for mending is this denim jacket. I made a little patch here for a shoulder hole. And then I'm doing this like really wild, like kind of sashiko mend for the collar. So this collar, the whole like front part of this fabric was completely just like threadbare. And so what I ended up doing was I took a piece of denim from old jeans that I cut into shorts, and then I was able to stitch it along and like fill in that hole a little bit. All I need to do, and then I did some sashiko top stitching. So now what I need to do is finish putting some, I'm just kind of making this up as I go, so I don't know if this is the right way to do it. But what I wanted to do was finish stitching this raw edge so that it wouldn't get caught on anything all the way around. And then I'm using safety pins as like straight pins. So then when I'm done, I'll like kind of fold this over and do like one final seam all across the top. I didn't cut this very well because I'm not a big sewer, and so I was just kind of like I was just like vibing and just doing whatever. But I really should have made sure that there was enough fabric that I could fold the whole thing over the top, but I mean, that's okay. I'll just do the best I can. The point is just to get it to secure and not move. But once I'm done, then I'll have this little hole to, I'll probably just end up darning that or something, because it's like this really awkward, like, hole, like, since it's a collar, it's like a two-sided thing, and like, you know, you can't just like put this whole thing on a mending loom, because you'd risk like poking through the backside of the fabric, I believe. But I'll figure it out. I feel like I can kind of just like freehand darn that if I wanted to. But yeah, this is my like highly worn denim jacket I got from my partner. It's like from the 80s, so it is vintage and definitely like well loved, but that is why it is falling apart. So I also could stand to strengthen the edge of the hem along the button band, because here you can see it's kind of coming apart. But yeah, I kind of started just wearing it after I mended the collar a little bit, but it does need to be finished. So that is my work in progress there. Okay. Now I'm just kind of going really fast because I know this has gotten pretty long, but if you're here at this point in the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you for wanting to hear me ramble about anything and everything. So this spin, I think I started spinning in my last video, maybe, possibly, I don't know. But anyway, I had finished spinning this at some point. It's Falkland by Kumasi. I chain plied it, so it's 3-ply. And I had overspun the shit out of this. Like, it was so, like, tight and, like, stiff. Like, it almost felt scratchy against the skin because it was so tight and just, like, not squishy and soft. So what I ended up doing was putting it back on the spindle and just taking some of the spin out. I didn't reset the twist, which I probably should do, but even just the act of, like, going through the whole skein and, like, taking out some of the twist, it has made such a difference. And now that I've realized that I have a whole other half of this fiber that I didn't even realize that I had, I kind of want to spin that and then chain ply that and then compare between the two, and then see, yeah, just like the tangible progress that I've made in spinning. Okay, now that we're into finished objects, I'll talk about my other finished spin. This is from Yarn House. This is their Suri Sari fiber bat. So all the little bits are bits of sari silk, which is really cool because, like, I've held silk saris before, but, like, I've never, like, dealt with them as a fiber, and so that was a really cute experience for me to spin that. It was also interesting so early in my fiber journey to spin a textured bat, to spin textured roving, because I feel like that's something you would more likely do on a wheel. I think I've just kind of been, like, thinking that I can't do something, but, you know, just kind of, like, doubting my ability to do something. And I'm glad that I pushed myself to do it on a spindle, because it did help me learn more about drafting and not, like, being so, like, taught about it. I really wanted to spin this chunky, but I don't know. I ended up spinning some of it much thinner than I wanted to. So it is a little uneven, but by the time I got to the second half of the ply, I think my consistency got a lot better. And when I plied both together to create a whole, it's probably under 4 ounces because I lost some of the fiber along the way, but after getting to the whole skein, I'm just, like, in awe because it's, like, so soft and squishy, and I definitely, like, want to use it and I want to knit with it. So I'm very excited to knit with these skeins I showed you earlier. This is a finished object I already talked about. Okay, I have 2 more finished objects, and then I want to talk about MCAL, and then I think that'll be it for today. So finished object that is unblocked and ends are still being woven in, which is why it's inside out. But this is my Sun Gazer tee knit in Spin Cycle yarns. So what's fun about this one is this is all the same colorway. I just made sure to get as different looking skeins as possible so that I could kind of maximize the color differences between the different sections. So this is all in Midsummer by Spin Cycle. And yeah, I think when one of my friends recommended that I knit this pattern with this yarn, I don't know, like, it's a great idea to, like, knit a modular pattern with color changing yarn. Like, it's life changing. I really, really like this purple. I really like this, like, pink and yellow. As you can tell, I tried to get a fadey portion whenever I could. I'm very excited to block this because I feel like this one can actually stand to be, like, aggressively blocked and pinned. And then I think it'll fit really nicely. So very excited for this one. And this is my outline raglan, which I knit in Gist yarn, which this yarn is actually made for weaving, but it's got like a nice like drape to it because it's still cotton. And then I kind of fucked up the armpit a little bit because I think when I was picking up stitches for the sleeves, I think I picked up the stitches for the other sleeve like one stitch off to how I did it on the other side. So when I hold it up, like you can see the outline stitches are kind of like whoop. So that's kind of annoying, but it's another one of those things, kind of like my tumble tee, where it's like it's not going to bother me enough to where I'm going to like redo the garment. So I just kind of live with it. But it is really comfy. I've worn it a bunch. I steam blocked this, but it could probably stand to be washed and like actually properly blocked because I also spilled tea on it one time and you can still see the stains. So there's that. But I do love this garment already. And it's just like ooshy gushy, like squishy cotton sweater. And the outline detail is fun. Like you can't go wrong with that. I feel like I was going to talk about one more thing. Oh yeah, MCAL, duh. I am so excited for the West Knits Mystery Knit Along. I've only actually, so what's funny is my friend Kira at Strange Bun, hi Kira, was talking to me and telling me how they associate West Knits shawls with me, which is so funny and cute because the friend that I learned knitting from, Becca, hi Becca, at Becca Knits, right? Anyway, she is the one who told me about Stephen West. So like the friend who got me into knitting, got me into Stephen West shawls, and then I'm over here being the West Knits shawls person for my other friend Kira. So it's just, again, with the like knitting community, just like keeping the motivation alive, and it's just a beautiful thing. We love to see it. So I've actually only participated in one of the MCALs. I only did the last year's one, which was shawlography. But I have knit a bunch of other West Knits shawls, like outside of the MCAL. So like I knit a Starflake for my grandmother. I knit a Slipstravaganza for my mom, which is another finished object I technically finished this year, but I don't have it because I gave it to my mom. But you can see that on my Instagram if you want to see it. But yeah, so I've knit 3 total West Knits shawls already. And just participating in the MCAL for me was really fun. Like I love unknown and just like seeing where it goes, and like I know like, you know, some people like want to know what the pattern looks like so that they can plan the colors accordingly, and that's totally understandable. Like I totally get that. I kind of love just like going along for the ride and just like letting go of all control. Like it's just fun. Like I kind of approach like my tattoos like that too. Like sometimes if I just really like an artist and they like to work like this, then I like to show up, just look through their flash in the moment, or you know, whatever they're offering, I like to look through it like during the appointment, and I won't even come with like a placement in mind, like, or maybe I'll have like a few choices of placement in mind, but I like to work through that like with the artist so that we kind of like I don't know what I'm gonna get when I walk in, and then like when I walk out, like I have something really cool that I can remember like the process of getting. And so I kind of feel like that about the MCALs, where like I like the process of not knowing what I'm gonna get, and then afterwards I have this really cool thing that was really fun to make, and I'll hold the product and the process of knitting it like dearly, you know. It's just really cool. So I started winding these because I wanted to swatch, but anyway, so these are the yarns I'm going to use in my Mystery Knit Along. So these are all Starbath dyes. I was going to buy yarn, but I honestly, like, I have so much yarn. It is not even funny. So I went into my stash to see if I could stash bust a little bit for this MCAL, because that's what I wanted to do last year, before my friend Becca got me yarn for the shawlography shawl knit. Thank you so much, Becca. But anyway, so I went into my stash, and when I realized that I had just enough Starbath dyes skeins, so like all from the same dye house, and it fit like the requirements of the pattern, which like all we know is that we need 2 skeins of main color, 2 skeins of contrast color, and 1 skein of accent color. So like it all fit the yardage requirements, and I think it looks so cute together. Like I've had this orange and yellow yarn for a really long time, and I like really wanted to, whenever I have a pair, I never want to break up that pair if I could help it. So I never wanted to like break these up and just like use them in different stuff. So I've been holding on to these to use in the right pattern, and I think I finally found that pattern. So this one is Aries Sun on Peruvian Highland wool, and then these are all merino. Yeah, this is untreated merino. These 2 are also untreated merino. This one is Virgo season, and then these 2 are Leo season. So I guess my shawl is a Leo, Virgo, Aries, fiery Earth. None of them are my signs. Like my big 3 are none of these, which is fine. But I think that's so cute. Anyway, so yeah, I know that these are a different base, but it's all non-superwash. So I don't think any of the yarn is going to like grow more than the other yarn. And plus I think this will give it a little bit more like structure, and then these will give it a little bit more drape. And I mean, knowing Stephen West, like all the yarns are like kind of crisscrossing, and like you use this one, then you use this one, then this one, then that one, then that one, then that one, and so it's like they're all going to be like mixed throughout the shawl anyway, so I'm not really worried about it. I also just really like this like muted rainbow going on, because we've got like purple, light purple, blue, yellow, orange, so like no bright pink, but that's okay. I'm just really excited to see what it looks like. So yeah, I'm getting to swatching. Of course, I can't take too much time away from my test knit, but I think it would behoove me to swatch just to see what it looks like. So that's next on my list. Yes, so if you're doing MCAL, let me know. I am so excited to do MCAL with friends, because I think last year I did it with a couple of friends, but I think this year it seems like a lot more people are interested in doing it. So let's all hype each other up. Let's all, oh my God, everything is happening. Let's all hype each other up. Let's all not hold each other accountable, because this is just something we're doing for fun. Like, this shouldn't be something stressful, like, that we have to get done on time. But, like, we can keep each other motivated. We can, like, whatever. Just let me know. I will hype you up. I'm excited to see everyone's MCAL shawls. So that is all I have to share. I went through so much information. I guess I was, that's what you get when you have 9 months worth of crafting to catch up on. But I'm really excited to get back into making videos. I'm not going to make any promises on how often I will release these, because again, I'm just some guy. I'm just doing these for fun. And I'm going to make sure that this just feels like a fun, cute thing I'm doing. But if you're watching these videos, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support and just the interest in what I'm doing over here in my little corner of the woods. And if you made it this far, again, thank you for being here with me, and see you next time.